yeah, real estate is hard because it's somebody's largest purchase. I
Hmm.
mean, your entire life, nobody's going to go out and typically buy a $300,000 car or something. So somebody's home is their largest purchase and it gets really stressful. And
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is the Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Welcome to the Closing Table. My name is Kevin C. McIntosh, your host, and I have a special guest joining us on this episode and sharing all her knowledge. I want to welcome Shasta Dowding. How you doing, Shasta?
good, Kevin, how are you?
Good, good. Did I pronounce your name right?
You did, nailed it.
There we go. Thank you. Oh my goodness. All right. So we're
That's
starting off good. We're here to pick your brain, of course, but we want to start things off a little light. I have a quick game for us. It's called This or That. It's basically just a few words and or phrases related to real estate. They are kind of like contradicting, but you just choose one. That's all you got to do. And if you want, you can let us know why you chose it or give a story behind it or whatever the case may be. You ready?
ready.
All right. First one. Amenity rich community or low HOA fees?
Low HOA fees.
Mm, interesting. Okay. Second one, conventional mortgage or FHA loan?
Conventional.
All right. All
Just
right.
based on your credit though, so whatever program can get you a house, go with it.
Perfect. Perfectly said. Right. Location or condition?
Location. You can always
Okay.
improve your condition.
Good point. Seller financing or bank financing?
Bank financing, because I
Mhm.
feel like a seller's it's just too ambiguous.
Gotcha. And lastly, residential real estate or commercial?
Residential.
There it is. All right. Thank you for playing our quick little game. Very immature game that I like to add on to the show to make things a little bit lighthearted. So this right now, I want you to take some time and explain to me and our audience in 60 seconds or less. Tell us who you are outside of real estate.
A mom, a friend, uh, and I just feel like I try to work with the community and the schools and as much as I can be involved outside of real estate without like outside of my career. I feel like my career is a tool that helps me have those advantages that I can be at school functions and I can give back to my
Hmm.
community. And so I just really like to be involved in probably way too many things.
I get it. I get it. Same here.
Always,
Sometimes I try to minimize it down a little bit to have more focus on certain things, but it is what it is. It keeps you busy, keeps you out of trouble. I guess you could
yeah.
say that.
We live on a lake, so we do a lot of boating and golfing
Mm.
and country
Ooh.
living over here. So
Ooh, nice, nice. And
yeah.
if you're watching on YouTube, you can see her background looks beautiful. I just want to jump right through the camera and go right there. It looks great. Oh, look at that land. Oh my God, the jealousy.
We are
Perfect, perfect.
country living.
Nice. So let's start off on the business end with you describing your current market. If you can tell our audience where you are serving geographically to start off, and then just make a little bit more introduction into it economically, the average pricing, square footage, and things of that nature.
Yeah, so I service the greater Lansing area, which doesn't mean I won't go up north or over to Grand Haven or over on the east side of the state, but typically our
Right.
area is the greater Lansing area. And economically, we're still in a housing shortage. Like it's just the
Mm,
truth. Um,
mm.
the average sale in the greater Lansing area is about 185,000, which is down from last year. Last year was
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
yeah, last year was like about 199.
Right.
Um,
Mm,
it's just price per square foot on average is about 119, 120.
okay.
Um, there's obviously more expensive places to live in Lansing, the greater area, or
Right.
more
Right.
affordable.
Mm.
Um, Average days on the market right now, I would say are about 11, 10 to 11. So if you
Really?
want to, yeah, so if you want to go see a house, go see it. Don't wait.
For real? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Man,
I went,
that has I'm assuming that number has definitely dropped. Or I should say, I don't know. Has it increased? Has it decreased? I don't know what to think now.
I feel like it's about the same. I mean, ever since 2020, the housing shortage and people, it's on the market 1 or 2 days and
Right.
it's just is what it is. I went to a showing the other day and the house was under 200. It was like
Mm-hmm.
199, 195. And there were people there when we got there. And as we were leaving, there was 7 cars in line waiting to look at this house and it had been on the
Wow.
market a day. So
Wow.
it,
Yeah.
you don't have time to sit around.
Yeah. See, I do know like at a certain point, a couple years ago, like houses were selling within a couple days over the weekend, if you will. Now, 10, 11 days, it sounds short relative to like, I guess like 30 days or
24.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Right. Correct. But man, wow, that's still relatively fast. That's still relatively fast.
It
Crazy.
is,
Okay.
if you think you have a week to look at it, or if you're out of town for a week,
Mm-hmm.
or,
Exactly.
a lot of agents will still, if you're out of town, just go do a virtual tour for you
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have time to miss it.
Right. Right. Let's get into you and your expertise and how you started off. I found this to be very, very interesting. At 10, you were selling greeting cards door to door in your neighborhood. This just took me back to some of my youth days and when I used to go door to door, do crazy stuff, right? So let's talk about this. How
Yeah.
did your early experience in sales at a young age shape your approach to real estate today?
Well, I just feel like I've always been one of those people that talk too much. Like my teachers, they would say to my mom, like, Shasta disturbs others. She talks too much. And she couldn't really do anything about it because I always had really good grades. So I would get all my stuff done and then everybody else would still be working, but then I would be overly chatty. So I think
Mm.
that's very helpful in my career now. But and then so selling greeting cards, my grandma had just boxes of greeting cards, right? So they would just be
Mm.
laying around and I asked her if she was going to use them and she said no. So I just started selling them for 25 cents a card. And I just
Nice.
went around to all of our neighbors and I had a variety of birthday, Christmas, like whatever they needed. And I mean, actually, it's a pretty good deal because cards are like
Now that
three
I
to
think,
five
yeah,
dollars.
I'm thinking about it now. Like that don't sound like a bad idea.
I mean, if somebody came to me for 25 cents a card, I'd probably
Right.
take it, right?
Like,
And it was around Christmas time, so it was cold, and I was just
oh
trying to
yeah.
get money for,
Hmm.
to buy Christmas presents for people. And so I could just knock on somebody's door and, hey, I have some awesome cards and I'm selling them for 25 cents. And people bought them. So I
Nice,
just,
nice.
and it even does transition into real estate for door knocking. I never do a lot of door knocking, but I started, selling Sunsets like a big show. I don't know if you watch it.
Okay.
Have you seen
No,
it, Selling
no,
Sunset?
I haven't.
All right. So they're in Orange County. So they're out in
Okay.
California. And these girls were door knocking and they got a $25 million listing. So
What?
I'm like,
Hold on, hold on. When you say door knocking, is that exactly what it sounds like?
exactly. You knock on somebody's door and say, would you like to sell your house?
What? Wow, people do that in 2023? That's crazy.
They do it. So now, I mean, even today, I still do a little bit of door knocking, not as much, but yeah,
Right,
it's
right.
definitely gives you the courage and people,
Mm.
generally nice, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
that's
about
definitely
it.
taking a risk. Just walking up to somebody's door, knocking, "Hey, do you want to sell your home?" Like, yeah, there's characters out there. I will say that, but that's
Yeah.
interesting because, like I said, when I was thinking back to some of the things that I did in my youth, like going door to door asking for quarters for like a church field trip, or selling candy at my mom's job or something like that. There was
Yeah.
something that I heard not too long ago where someone said everyone should have the experience in sales. Everyone should have some type of sales experience in their life because it teach you that communication. It teach you how to reach out to people, to network and get over certain fears and things of that nature. Plus, I mean, ultimately, the sales position, I mean, other than being an entrepreneur, it's probably one of the only positions you can have where there's no ceiling in what you can make. So there's no cap. So I mean, that also teaches you, entrepreneurship and working on your own and things of that nature. So I think that's great that you had that experience early. What type of specific lessons or skills do you feel like? I mean, other than just sales, would you say it sharpened your communication and things of that nature? What other skills you think would you say?
Yeah, I would say with sales though, the service industry is another one I think everybody should work in, whether you're a server or a bartender
Oh
or a host.
yes,
I feel
I
like
agree.
when you have to serve the community and the customer's always right, it
Mm-hmm.
definitely gives you good tools of patience, like even when
Mm-hmm.
they're wrong and you're still going to give them good service because if you don't, then you don't get paid, right? They're not going to give you a tip. So
Yep,
I
yep.
think that anything that gets you out working with the public, even if you're volunteering your time somewhere, but just somewhere where you actually can talk to people and learn how to be empathizing, like where you can empathize with them. So
Uh,
you can just kind of put yourself in their shoes.
that's
Real
a good
estate is,
point.
yeah, real estate is hard because it's somebody's largest purchase. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, your entire life, nobody's going to go out and typically buy a $300,000 car or something. So somebody's home is their largest purchase and it gets really stressful. And if you can't empathize and understand with them and where they're coming from, you're not going to have a large client base.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, no, that you made some solid points there. I mean, emotional intelligence, being able to read the room, also those are important. Like literally read the room, like
read the
seeing
room.
a blank blank room and seeing like what you can put in there, and also reading the
Yeah.
room metaphorically, like see the nonverbal cues that your clients or potential clients are saying and things of that nature. That's all important. That's all important in communication and building those relationships and things like that. So I'm glad that you brought those other skills up because it's more than just communication. There's different nuances to it too.
It definitely is. I like to tell
Hmm.
people when you're in real estate, you're like their therapist
Oh yeah,
because everybody just calls and like, "Oh, how's your day?"
yeah.
Well, and
Yeah, and
you
then you
spend a
deal with so much, like you said, you're dealing with their biggest purchase. You could possibly deal with someone going through a divorce or someone getting married, dealing with a death. So the
yeah.
emotions are up, down, up, down. And if I had $1 for every time I heard that from an agent about them being a therapist, also, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be able to pay everybody. It'd be something crazy. So, um, you mentioned that you are a mother, 3 sons.
3
Whoa.
sons.
I have
Whoa.
one and I'm ready to retire, but hats off to you. 3 sons. I know it requires excellent time management and organizational skills, something that I definitely can't look past. How do you balance your personal life and your professional life with 3 sons? Please
Yeah.
give us the secret.
In the beginning, yeah, when the boys were little, I just took them
Woo.
everywhere with me. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have much of a life. I couldn't really set boundaries with clients. Like if they needed to see a house, we went and saw the house and I just loaded the kids up.
Wow.
Um, I think they all kind of have a little bit of PTSD from being in the car so much. So there's no going to work with mom days anymore. Nobody ever wants to come. But now I just really try to stay focused on them and what's important and
Mm,
work around their schedule. So if,
right.
my middle son just got done with track and it was every day till 4:15. So usually I'm showing houses till, like 5 to 7 to 8. So, I just had to rearrange my schedule so I could be at those 3-hour track meets.
Listen, first off, let me applaud you. All right. Let me tell you something. I have my first child, my son, me and my girlfriend, first child. He's only one. I
Oh,
couldn't imagine multiplying that by 3 in my house. Like I could barely keep my house clean now because of him. And the fact that you are executing like you're doing what you have to do to be a successful real estate agent and still be there as a mom. It's one thing to be a mom, but you're still going to those track meets and setting up those open houses and going to the graduation. I can't do anything but respect and applaud you for that because I know it takes a lot. I know it does, especially in those early I know. So
And
congratulations
thank you.
on the success of you and your kids and everything. So that's a big deal because I have a newfound respect for parents. Okay.
They're good kids. And one is hard. I mean, one child is hard and what age
Yes.
one is hard and
Yes.
3 is hard and 4 is hard, but I'd say it gets easier when they're around 9.
Okay.
So,
Thank you for
9,
giving me the hope. I appreciate that. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
yeah, 9 is the age I feel like when they start becoming more independent. They don't need you
Right.
as much and
Mm-hmm.
um
Oh man.
but Sundays are tough because we have football for 7 hours. We go from one football game to the next football
Ooh,
game
seven
and
hours.
yeah,
Wow.
sitting in bleachers for it's quite a day, but you know.
And I know that requires a lot of multitasking too, right? I mean, you're not just sitting there watching the game. I anticipate you're probably watching, but also handling business at the same time, and possibly networking, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I can't even remember a vacation that I've gone on and not worked.
Ooh, wow.
So we might be at Disney, but they know that for the first 4 hours of the day, I'm on my computer or I take my computer to the pool or, um,
Mm,
it just, and I pick vacations based on Wi-Fi connections.
right. Oh, wow.
So
That's funny.
if I can't
Yeah.
have
Oh,
Wi-Fi
man.
or if my phone is international, we probably won't go, so
So
because I
it's
have to
never
work.
really just a vacation for you. It's pretty much always business.
It's a workation.
A workcation. Oh, new words we just invented and learned here on the closing table,
There we
ladies and gentlemen.
go. And
um,
everybody,
oh, go ahead, please.
I was just gonna say every real estate agent knows it. Anybody that's self-employed
Yep.
knows it. Anybody that's an
Yep.
entrepreneur knows that, we wouldn't be on that vacation if it wasn't for my career. And, the boys just understand it.
That's a solid point. That's a solid
Yeah.
point. I
I
think
have
we
a
all
visitor
can
down
agree
here.
with
I don't
that.
know if you can. This is my
Hey,
alley.
hello. Thanks for being our guest on the closing table. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. Bring more. Hey, so completing your BA degree, this obviously shows that you have a certain level of dedication to education. Can you talk about how your academic background enhanced your skills as a realtor and how it contributed to your aspirations of being a successful top producing realtor?
I w- was raised really poor. We lived in trailers, food stamps, government assistance. The church helped us a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I knew that I wanted to, be different. And I knew that I wanted to go to, college for me was all I knew to make my life better. I didn't even have a brain cell for real estate at that point or even a sales position. So I went to college and I busted my butt and I got done in 3.5 years with my bachelor's degree.
Congrats. Wow.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I created my own major. So I went to a small college and they let me do that. And I, proposed it to the board. So I have a double major in insurance and human resources.
Okay.
And just feeling my time in college, it really opened me up to a whole new world that I wasn't used to. I mean, business suits, and I was a part of an
Mm-hmm.
insurance society. So
Mm-hmm.
we traveled a lot. We went all to all the major cities and we're in these huge corporations, like ExxonMobil and Aon Re and Chubb and like all these huge companies with, these successful people that I had never been around before.
Right.
And so my growth in college, I think as a person, but as a professional, grew exponentially. And I bought my first business suit in college, and I, created resumes, and I was part of these workshops where I would bring in underclassmen and create resumes and dress for success and
Right.
um, etiquette, like just eating. When you go to a restaurant for the first time, what do you do? Like, I had never
Mm.
had anybody teach me these skills, so I thought how important
Mm.
they were. And I loved it. I loved my job. But what I didn't love, because I tried a few different jobs after college, I did human resources for a while for a manufacturing company.
Okay.
I was on insurance sales and the underwriting side, so the company side.
Right.
What I don't like is being in a cubicle.
Oh my goodness. Oh, talk about it.
I I'm not good at being on time for things. I'm
Woo.
not good at waking up at 7 a.m. I'm not good at like I learned about all the things I wasn't good at for corporate
Yeah.
America that I just did
Yeah.
not fit the mold. And then I was introduced to real estate. My ex-husband and I actually took over, a brokerage, and
Mhm.
I was like, "What? I don't have to be up at 7 a.m. I don't have to,
Talk
So
about it. Oh,
you definitely trade things, like I
yeah.
traded a cubicle for a car, right? I mean, I
Mm.
lived in my car for a lot, and I traded a 7.5 hour day to like a 14 or a 15-hour day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you still feel like you have the freedom and the flexibility, even though you are in a car, or if you want to go to the movies in the middle of the afternoon, you can. If you want to stop in and pick your kid up for lunch, you can. So field trips and um, you work long, hard hours, and you don't even understand what you're getting yourself into when you trade corporate America for real estate or for some sales position.
Right.
But it's just amazing, and I think education is important. I'm encouraging my children, even though I don't use my degree per se. The what I learned in college was just, you know,
Mm.
exponentially like beneficial to my career now. So I push it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that story, what you just basically said, I almost feel like that's me and my generation. Like, to be honest with you, like I went through the whole getting an internship after college and being in this cubicle and 8 a.m. to 5 and take the lunch and wear a tie. I hate I just
Yeah,
cannot do I'm like, how do people do this for 30 years?
yeah.
Oh my
Well,
goodness. It's a different time though. So
yeah.
I agree. I get that. But this is what I want to kind of ask you, because I have this same feeling when it comes to school. I got my bachelor's of science in communication, a degree that
Like, what are
I
you
would
gonna do when
consider
you grow up?
useless.
Yeah.
Correctly, right? But so I've also felt like I didn't necessarily get or use my degree, but a lot of the connections and the things that I've learned outside of class were very valuable. Do you think college was necessary for you to still end up in the position that you're in now? You think you could have still got those learning lessons outside of college?
No, I feel like I would be a completely different person.
Mm,
I just feel
okay.
like coming from the background that I came from, I needed to see those professionals.
I feel it.
I needed to see a bigger world than what I came
Mm-hmm.
from.
Mm-hmm.
So I and that's why I'm pushing my son. So he's going to Western in the fall, and he's going to go for engineering.
Hey, Kazoo.
Yeah, and he's like, "Mom, I can just be a realtor like you." And I'm like, "You could, but I want him to experience it. I want him to meet people that are from different backgrounds. I mean, we live in a really small community with barely zero diversity, and I think it's so important for him to get those learning lessons that he's and the connections and the people he's going to meet and the professors that are going to have like huge impacts on him. And I know that just working in an everyday, like just being a realtor, you're not going to get those lessons. You're
It's
just
true.
not. Like, and
It's
you
true.
mean you could pick it up and learn the hard way. And, when you don't know how to communicate with a client and show them, that they're right. Or
Right, right.
I just feel like college is just a really big growing, like just a place where you grow.
I agree. I agree. I
So
agree.
to
Yeah.
me, it's worth it. And I just, and if he has a degree in engineering when he gets done, amazing. If he loves engineering, great. If he doesn't, he can come back to real estate. But he
There you
always
go.
has it. Nobody can take that away from
Mm,
you.
for sure. For sure. And just for clarification purpose too, I mentioned Kalamazoo, but you mentioned Western. Is there a Western Ohio, or did you mean Western
Go
Michigan?
Broncos. Yes, I
Okay,
did.
just making
Yeah.
sure. I don't want to
Yeah.
make assumptions here. Okay, that's where I was born, Kalamazoo. So I just wanted to
Okay.
put that out there. Shout out to Kalamazoo.
There
All
you
right.
go.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like, in regards to college and the education and things like that. So it's very interesting that you brought that up, and that you also keep that open mind and want your child to get that different experience. Also, I like and respect that too. You're like, hey, real estate isn't going anywhere, but
No.
take this time to go to college.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I just feel like the people that he's gonna meet are, it's just gonna be worth it. The
Yeah, it can
experiences he's
change
gonna have.
exactly where it can change what he wants to do. Exactly.
hmm And time
Yeah.
management too. You learn a lot of that in college
Oh
that
yeah.
you know, time management in high school is completely different than time management in
Mm-hmm.
college. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think that that's going to be huge for him as well to learn how to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a real job and bills and college.
Yep.
And, you know, there's just going to be a lot of things with your studies and your papers. And I think it's all good. I think college is important.
Absolutely. I would agree with that. Attending Tony Robbins seminars shows that you do have a commitment to personal growth and development as well as education. But how has these experiences influenced your mindset, your strategies, and overall success in your profession as a real estate agent?
I have been to Tony Robbins Awaken, I think it's Awaken the his awakening like ceremonies. I've been to him 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I think every time I go, I learn something different about myself and about other people. So when you're
Right.
in those seminars, you're really taking everything that you buried deep down that you didn't even know was bothering you, and you bring it to a light and you kind of let it go. He's got a couple
Mm.
different things, like you walk on fire. So the very first Tony Robbins day, at the end of the day, you walk on fire.
Is that a metaphor?
No, no,
You said walk on fire. I'm hoping this is a metaphor.
no,
Are
it's
we literally
not.
walking on
We're
fire?
literally walking on fire. And, you know, there's 3,000 people doing
Whoa.
it before you and behind you. So, you know, and even just that experience, if I take all the
What?
other things out of it, being able to walk across, you know, fire and not burn yourself shows you the power of your mind and what you believe you can achieve.
Yeah.
You know, people always say if you believe it, you know, that's the first step. But truly, your mind, I'm walking across fire saying I'm not burning my feet off. And you don't. You literally don't burn your feet off.
That is
I
something that you only see in the movies. You really did that. You
three
really
times.
did that.
I've done it three
What?
times.
Oh my
And every
goodness.
time is just as scary as the time before.
I
Like,
bet.
even though you know you've done it and you're like, oh, it's fine, I've done it, like every time. So I got a coal stuck between my toes and I got like a blister one time. So when you walk across the fire, when you're done walking, there's two people on both sides of the fire and they pick you up and they spray your feet off with a hose. So I had a coal stuck between my toes, didn't get sprayed off, and I had this huge blister. And it was just, I feel like that was almost more powerful to me than the fact that I actually walked across the fire because it was evidence that it really happened. Is that
Oh
crazy?
man. Oh, you cut from a different cloth because I would have just taken me to the hospital.
Yeah, you
Ah!
don't even, I mean, he amps you up for it. And the first time I went to the Tony Robbins seminar, I didn't know that you did that. Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, firewalkers. And I was like, what's he saying firewalkers for? Who's a fire? I'm not a firewalker. Well, who's a firewalker? What does that even mean?
Oh,
And
oh,
then
it's you, all right.
yeah, and we're downtown LA. This seminar is in LA, and we're
Ooh,
downtown
nice.
LA, and 3,000 people. And he has this parking lot set up with all these rows of fire, and it smells like a campfire, and there's smoke everywhere, and you're in line. Like, you know, there's 50 lines of fire, and you're in line. Pick a
Oh
line to go walk through
man.
some fire, you know? And it's very
Oh,
exhilarating. But I feel like personal growth is probably one of the most important aspects of education, just so you understand who you are, where you come from, where you want to go, and how you can be better,
right,
you know.
right.
So,
Um, I don't know if we if you mentioned this, but can you do you have any specific examples of how you've applied something that you've learned from there to your actual life or profession?
yeah, I have a team of agents and we talk a lot about books and what to read and what to do, and I feel like I this is just the other day. I had a issue come up and I was able to sit down and really talk through it. And somebody came and they were very frustrated. And it was actually working with the county, you know. And so I got the lady on the phone and I just talked her through it and figured out all the answers. And she'd been really sick recently. And so when somebody's sick, you just have to empathize with them and you have to be able to put yourself in their shoes and listen. And I think with personal development, that was the biggest thing is I would always talk over people, like goes back to me being an overtalker and not
Mm,
listen.
mm,
And so one of my biggest lessons with personal growth is, using your eyes and your ears and your mouth proportionately, right? One mouth, two ears.
yep.
Listen double, talk less. So with that, and then I got off the phone and the guy looked at me. He was like, "Can I have some of that? Can you just like rub some of that, whatever you just did on the phone on me, please?" You know, I'm like,
That sounds
he,
so crazy.
he's like, "I don't know how you just did that with the county, but can you give me some of that? Because I just go, you know." It was it
For
was
real.
cute. So personal development, I would say that's the biggest one. Use your mouth
Yeah.
and your ears proportionately.
Every day, try to get better. That's a fact. Any and everything that you can consume that can make you a better person, go for it. I agree.
Yeah.
You did mention that you are currently a homeowner, correct?
I own a couple houses actually, but yes, I'm a
Oh,
homeowner.
beautiful, beautiful. All right, that's even better for my next question I'm asking you. So let's say we're starting completely over. You don't own any of those homes. What would you do, knowing what you know now with the resources that are available that you know of? What approach would you take to owning your first home?
Um, Save. I think the most important thing is people don't understand the cost it actually does to operate a house. I always tell my clients to
Mm,
have a rainy day fund because you never know when the furnace is going to go, or the air conditioner is going to go, or your refrigerator is
yeah,
going to die. And I almost
yeah,
would rather people put less down and pay that minimum PMI than take all their money out of the bank or out of their 401ks or wherever they're taking it from, because there's always something that happens with a house that you can
yeah,
never expect. So I think the first time I bought a house, I was very creative. I mean, I was renting for a long time. Then I had my grandpa buy me the house because I couldn't buy it yet because my credit. And then I, refinanced it into my own name. And then I refinanced it again. And I just, get creative. Ask people, advice on it. And don't just believe one person. you know get a pool of people. If you want to buy a house, don't just go to one person and say, "Oh, you're a homeowner, what did you do?" Because everybody's experiences are different.
correct. Yeah,
And think outside of the box if you need to get creative on down payment assistance and stuff like that.
there it is.
Pay
Yeah,
your credit
I
cards
agree.
down. Don't max out your credit cards. I have so many
Mm,
clients that max out their credit cards and they don't understand what that does to their debt to income.
you
So if
preaching now.
Yeah, if your credit card is $1,000 limit, never go over 500. Never go over 500. Keep it at 50%
Yeah.
and don't live on credit cards. Don't do it. It's very scary. You're playing with fire.
Oh yeah, slippery slope for real,
Yeah,
for real.
get
Well,
don't do
well,
it.
yeah. Well, yeah, we appreciate you. Thanks for sharing your knowledge, giving us a lot of gems and a lot of game today. At this point, if you have any last words and or want to tell the people how they can reach out to you, please do so now.
I think the most important thing is, even right now with interest rates being high, which are about 6.5 to 7.5, you
Mhm.
still need to get a house. You still need to start developing equity because you never can get that back if you're renting. So even if you're paying a little higher interest right now, always buy. Always, always buy.
Yeah,
Never rent if you
yeah,
don't have to. And then
yeah.
how to get a hold of me?
Mhm.
You can Shasta Dowding, and then my cell phone is 517-204-9378. And I have it glued to my hand all the time, as we all do, probably too much.
I know, right?
It's like,
Thank you so much for being here, being a guest, taking time out of your very busy schedule to be here. We definitely do appreciate that. And for our YouTube audience watching right now, if you got into this point in the video, please hit that thumb, aka the like button. We appreciate that. Also, make sure you share the content and subscribe to our channel. And if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a like, a 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. I always like to leave our audience with a question before we leave. Hey, audience, how does your realtor's background outside of home sales really matter when you are choosing your agent? Don't talk about it right now. Leave it in the comments. Besides that, I'm going to talk to you later.